Good morning, everyone. It's Joni from Joni's Journals here on YouTube and on Etsy and on Instagram. How are you today? Happy 4th of July to those of you that celebrate. It's actually Monday, so it's the day before, but I probably won't be making a video tomorrow. We're having company. If you remember, these are what we made and what we looked at on Friday. And I've decided to call them, excuse me, I have to let Roger in. I've decided to call them photo collage montages. So what I promised we would do today is that we would make one together. Yesterday I sat down and I prepared a couple of photo frames, and this one I prepared, and it has the Distress Crackle paint on it already, okay, because I said we would ink one, and we would also apply the paint to one. And I've applied the Distress Collage Medium Crackle, Distress Collage Medium Crazing to the frame itself. I had never used it as like a regular medium. I only have ever used it for the crazing, but I like the way it came out. The finish on the frame is rather dull, which I was trying to achieve. If you prefer something a little bit shinier, even though this is matte, it does have a little bit of a shine to it, then by all means you can apply that to your frame and you can put the crazing on afterwards. If you see it's a little bit bumpy in the corners, I applied a lot, and this took a long time to dry. I kept checking it all night. I applied it probably yesterday morning at about 10, maybe 11. And by, I want to say 8 o'clock last night, most of it was dry except where the really lumpy parts are. I've also added the crackle paint to her so that this way we can apply crackle paint and we can apply the alcohol ink. All right. Then this is the background that I've prepared for her. Since I decided to call it a collage, I've applied a lot of different elements around the edges. You can see I was measuring where my frame would go, and look, there's a little black line right there. That's how I knew where to line her up to. Okay, and then we can adjust her up and down, but I wanted to make sure that I at least had a starting point for her. These are those journal cards by Tim Holtz that we used on Friday. I don't remember their exact name, but if you go back and check on the video, only because I don't have them out, you can see what they're called. This is the frame for the one that we're going to do today. I applied, like I said, I've applied the crazing to it. I wanted that part at least to be prepared so that after we apply the crackle paint, we can apply the alcohol ink to it. And this is the one we're going to put together today. I've gotten out some of the little field notes elements by Tim Holtz that we can apply to the front and the back. We still have to ink them, okay? And like I showed you Friday, this is the photo I want to use. I didn't put anything on her. I didn't think we needed to dull the picture down because she's going to go behind the frame and she's going to be a little bit shiny anyway. Her boyfriend, on the other hand, what I did was I applied the crazing to him, okay? And you can see I added a little bit of extra up here in the corner so we can add some alcohol ink to him. I just figured at least he's prepared and done with, so we could do the things to him that we want to do. This is their background. I've put all the cards together already. You can see again, I have my little black lines here all around, because once I got them together, I was getting frustrated with these. There were so many different things on each card that I wanted to reveal on the front, and also that I wanted to reveal on the back. I wanted this pretty butterfly. So I fiddled and fuddled with the cards, and I said, you know what, let me just glue them together. No one needs to learn how to glue cards together. And it's your own choice as to what you want your background to look like. So I just figured, let's get these together, and then we'll at least apply the elements together. All right, I think we should start by gluing our little friend here. I decided on names for them. This is Margaret. Okay, and if you can see in here, his name is written on the picture. It's a little bit covered by the crackle, but his name is Henry. So I figured Henry could be Henri. And Margaret was visiting France for her summer vacation, and she stumbled upon Henri. And they met and they fell in love. Our other young lady here, I've decided to name Lucia. She's our Italian model. Oh, you can see some of the crackle paint is falling off. That's a little bit of a, what do you call it? An outcome of when you apply too much, and I applied a lot of the crackle paint, sometimes it will crack off. Okay, but let's add Margaret to the back of her frame. I think it might be easier to put the glue onto Margaret, and so we'll just put a little bit here along the edge. I don't want to put too much, because even though we're going to put crackle paint over her, and we can probably disguise what if we've made a mistake with the glue, I would really prefer, let me just turn her around so I can get the glue on this side. I would really prefer not to have the glue peeking out from behind the frame. Now Margaret's a little bit oversized for the frame, but that's okay, because you can't really tell in the front. Now let's try to move Margaret down a little bit in the frame so we can see her pretty face, and adjust this a little. There, okay? So now Margaret is glued to her frame. And we're gonna let her sit a minute or two while that glue dries a bit. And I'm gonna get out one of my, as I said, I use these things till they die, one of my already yucky baby wipes. I'll tuck it back in, close it a little so it stays wet, so we don't have to throw it away. Now, let's move that over there. I wanted to decorate up the back, and we can do that before we apply Henri and Margaret to the cards, their backgrounds rather. And I'm using Archival ink. Whoops, it'd be better if I turned it around. Ranger Archival ink in coffee. And I use that because it doesn't smear. You may notice that here on the edges of Henri, I've already added some color, and I put the color on before I put the crackle medium down. The Archival ink doesn't smear because it is permanent, and it gives a nice finish. Up here I applied a little bit of black because I wanted this to be vintage. And I felt like the black looked like that the picture might be fading a bit, and that the edges, which you can see the black edges, might be, what's the word I want? Breaking down and fading away as the picture has aged. So I put a little bit of black. There might be some along the edges. I also did the edges because this is going to be visible. I didn't want glaring white edges when we're trying to make something look a little bit old. So what we're gonna do is, I wanna place this piece, oops, if I can get a hold of it, on the front behind Margaret's picture. I was playing with it last night as, you know, I do because I like to, well, come here. There we go. Whoop, there we go. Just so that I have an idea of how I want to put it together so that we don't have to sit here and, well, I want to say stare at each other, but you don't have to sit here and stare at me going, maybe. No, I don't think so. Maybe. So I'm just going to ink up the edges a little bit because if we want it to look old, even though I like the new way that, is it Ranger or Ideology? I don't remember. I think it's Ideology is making the snippets and bits and stuff that you get from them now. They're not shiny. The paper is still a nice quality, but they're not like photograph shiny. And so you don't have to worry about dulling down each and every piece. And the butterfly has a lot of white on it, but we can make that disappear. If you notice, I used a butterfly back here. Oh, well, there's a little bit of white showing. Let's just fix that. And I just inked around the edges. I mean, everyone knows it's not a real butterfly. So if you just, kind of dull it, if you're really anal, which I can be sometimes, but not all the time, you could go around and cut the edging off and just have your butterfly. But I think it looks okay like that because it's inked and everything else is inked. So it'll be fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to ink up the edges of our butterfly. I just want to make sure that you can see me. I'm sorry if you don't like inking, but I figured, there are people out there who may not enjoy watching someone ink, but who maybe might stumble upon the video and say, geez, I don't understand what inking means. How do you do it? So let's have some patience for newbies. We should all always have patience for someone who's new at doing something. I think that if people are new and don't understand how to do something and you're the one that's explaining it to them, then maybe you should just take, I don't know, not be conceited about it, show offy about it, don't, that's not nice, but take pride in your work and show them how to do it. It's everybody was new at something once. My biggest memory of being new at something is learning how to ride a bicycle. My cousin Meredith, who lives next door to us now that we've moved here to Florida, she taught me how to ride a bicycle. Oh boy. Oh, let's ink this one. Patience of a saint, I have to say. She is one of the most patient people that I know. Takes a lot to get her upset. I just want to make sure I'm inking this enough. She taught me how to ride a bicycle. My mom was a little bit strict and could be a little cranky when I was younger and throughout her entire life. When my cousin was teaching me how to ride a bicycle, I fell down and went straight out. I mean, straight out, flat out on my belly. I scraped up my elbows, I scraped up my knees. I think I even got scraped up on my feet towards my ankles. And of course, I was young, I was upset. And I remember one of my cousins saying to me was, oh my gosh, let's get you upstairs and get cleaned up before your mother yells at us. Yeah, that's being a newbie. But yeah, don't lose patience with people who don't understand how to do something. Show them you know how to do it and be proud of yourself. Say, okay, this is something I can do and I can show somebody else how to do it so they can be as happy when they create as I am. Oh, we didn't lay this out. I didn't show you my scheme of things. Basically, I just want to kind of get this close to the butterfly. We can cover up. I always get upset when I cover up things that I think are really pretty with other things that I think are really pretty. Wipe some of that glue off. I do have one of those yucky, glue erasers, the gummy things, but I can I don't think I've ever used it. You know, what are you hiding? You're gluing it. Everybody has to know you glued it. But if it's messy, really messy, then I will go in and take the glue off. See? I wanted it to look sort of like the butterfly was closing in on the flower. Now, let's see. How did I have this figured? As I've said before, I follow the rule of threes. And I try to make all of my things touch. I want this part to show. Let's see, can we, I think maybe I want to tuck this in under the flower if I can get a hold of it. Nope, I think I may have glued it down already too much. All right, we're going to put this maybe in here. We can tuck it under there. Look, I think we'll put that there like that. Let's try to make it straight. And then we can take this butterfly and put him down there like he's closing in. I liked this part, so I kind of wanted that to show. But let's try to make it so that, I don't know now. I think maybe we'll tuck this up here. Nope, I liked that part. Okay, let's go down here. Let's put our butterfly like this. He still kind of shows. I want him coming in on, I know what we can do. Let's put this way. What do you think? And put this butterfly like that. This way we can still see our other butterfly. Maybe we can find a label or a circle or something for up here. I just feel like it's kind of blank. Nope, I'm gonna do it the way that we have it. Let's put this back in the box. This is all my field notes snippets, and I'm sure you saw the name Artie Mays. This is, when I make things, I try to cut off the information strips on the bottom so that if it's a journal that I'm putting in my Etsy shop, I like to list the items that I've used. I just feel like the people that made them should get credit for them. But that's my snippets. All right, let's glue this down. Oh, get the dirt off. And if I decide that I feel like it's too empty, get that little icky part off, then if I change it in any way, I'll come back and I will show you what I did. All right, let's do this. We'll put this like this, slip it under the leaf so that it is indeed touching. Try to get it straight with this line down here. Okay. Oh, I just think I was just better. Oh, there we go. Thought I was better off having left it alone. Now, my butterfly, I want my, how about, no, I want him facing in. I think we'll put him like that. Maybe a little bit further back. Yeah. This way, everything sort of looks connected. I don't like things to appear disjointed. All right, here we go. Okay. See, we got a little butterfly, and we'll just put him down like that. Okay, it's the bigger butterfly sharing his flower with the little butterfly. There we go. And that's the front. I'm gonna leave the front as is because what I was trying to achieve by using these 3 cards in particular was I'm not being, I don't know the word I want, but like sexually predictable. I guess that's the only way to put it. But when I think of Henri in France, I just thought of cigars. Cigar smoking was a big thing at one time. And I used to work in a nightclub, and men would come in and they'd go to the cigar room, and women would come in and go to the cigar room, and they would sit and smoke their cigars, and they all had on suits, and So I thought Henri reminded me of that. I wanted the flowers for our pretty little lady who is, see, the glue's almost completely dry. It's enough that we can turn her over. She's not going to stick to anything. And so I thought of pretty flowers and pretty girls and the little leaves and things like that. My butterfly and the flowers. And this was the back of the card, and I really wanted this to show back here, and so that we could get a little bit of everything. This is why I played with it for so long, because I wanted elements from both cards to still show, and I wanted my butterfly. See, we still have the flower here, and the cigar still peeks out, and I thought that the green just set off the little colors in the little butterfly. So I thought that, you know, that would be a nice way to do it. Okay, what I'm going to do, can we still see, is I'm going to put Margaret down because I want to kind of size up where we can place her and where we can place him so that the elements are showing and that both of their faces are showing. I think we're going to put her off to the side a little, but we want to bring her up further. I have something funny happened yesterday. I don't want to show white edges. So after I put this whole thing together, I decided that I wanted to decorate the back because I figured I'm not necessarily going to lay this down in anything. I might use it as a removable element in a journal, or we can even just use it as something decorative elsewhere. I laid everything out. I put this tag down, and I forgot what else was showing. I think it was just basically this tag. And when I flipped it over, I had white edges showing. So I said, I panicked. What am I going to do? So I said, all right, well, I'll just hide the white pieces with little pieces of the specimen notes, the little tiny things. And then, so I glued this down. And when I turned it over, the white edge from this part was showing. And I said, all right, I'll cut it off. And then I said, no, if I trim it so that I'm not showing the white edges, it's not going to look right on the back. Took out more ephemera. I stuck this on the back and this one down here to cover up the bottom of the tag. And I turned it over and I said, well, let's just get decorative. And I added these two little pieces to cover up what I had put on the back. And then I said, now this whole section looks empty. Pulled out everything again, the field notes and the number strips and or the specimens and stuff, and I started sticking more stuff on. So that's how this became so highly decorated, but I just thought that was funny. Okay. Now, if we stick Margaret here, we want her flowers to show, but again, I don't want to turn it over and see the white. So let's leave him there for now. And let's pretty much size up where she's going to go. I think she could go here. And she's still centered, nothing sticking out. Oops, sorry, I kicked the camera. Nothing is sticking out on the back. And then we can tuck Henri right there. We can still see his handsome face and his name and the crackle. Okay, let's stick the flowers down. We have a basic idea of where it's going. This will be fine. We just want to tuck the white edges in. So I'm going to put my glue on. And if it comes out, just put enough so it sticks on here. I'm looking to make sure you can see what I'm doing. Gluing is about as interesting as inking. Okay, and we're gonna lay that down close to the edge because we want it to show when we put Margaret's picture down. There we go. And then we're going to play with this yet again because I'm going to put the picture down before I put the crackle paint down. I just want to be able to show you the completed card and add the elements that we were going to add so that you can see the whole card finished. So this will be a finished project. All right, let's see if I can grab I use my aquarelle pencil because in my mind, if where I'm putting lines still show, because I want to map everything out and I want to know where I'm gluing my elements. Okay. Oh, we can even, well, we want the flower to show. Okay. Whoops. See? I moved Henri. We'll call them Henry and Maggie for short. It's my glue. All right, let's just put a small line here so we know where we want to put Maggie. I put the lines down so that when I've mapped everything out, I know exactly where to put the pieces. Okay. My husband is home today. He's not working. He's taken off for the holiday weekend. And the gentleman that he works with has gone away for 2 weeks anyway. So he's home if you hear him tiptoeing around in the background. Let's put him here. Okay. Yeah, see? We've got him glued down. And I've managed to cover up the lines so we don't have to worry about it. What I started to say was I use the aquarelle pencil because in case my lines show, I can always add a little bit of water and smudge them out. Let's put that, let's put her, glue her down so that it's just another element to your piece. Because I was using a regular pencil, and although I do my best to hide the lines after I've done it, I was using a regular pencil, but I said, why not use the aquarelle? Now let's try to get her here. I want to put her so her flowers show, but the white on her frame doesn't show, and so that Henri still shows. All right, we're going to hold her down for a few minutes. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to figure out, okay, I have my crackle paint. Okay. I'll show you the effects of what happens after the crackle paint has been applied and dried on Lucia. Whoops. But I want to show you how to apply the crackle paint to the element. I'm wondering now if maybe we should ink this. Yeah, let's do that. We'll let good old Maggie spend some time adhering down. You see? That's what our card looks like. And that's the back, okay? Let's take out our ink, open it up far away from me because I don't want to get it all over me. And let's do a little crackle on here. Oh, I forgot to tell you what I did with the frame. I applied the crazing also. Like I said, I wanted that much to dry. And you can see there's little pieces here, even though it's a thin coat, where it's sort of chipping up. Again, before I applied the crackle, I didn't want to distress these frames because I wanted them to not be grungy. I wanted them to sort of be vintage, but pretty vintage without having to mess around with the sanding disc and stuff. Sorry, I made an executive decision about that. But when I looked at all of the elements that I was applying to each of these, I just felt like they were a little bit too, I don't know, pretty, to make it look grungy. And I wasn't shooting for vintage old, found in the attic kind of old. I wanted it to just look like somebody went, wow, look what I just found tucked in with all of Mom's stuff in the suitcase. An old picture of Grandma Maggie and Grandpa Henri. That's the look I was trying to achieve with this, so I didn't use my sanding disc, but I did. You can see around the edges here, I used the black, the jet black archival ink, and I inked all of these edges here. I even went so far as to ink the edge of the frame, and I inked all around in the black. And then I took the archival ink in coffee, and I sort of applied it, you know, around here, and just to make it look old, but not destroyed old. Okay, I just wanted to let you know why we chose to do that. Let's just put a drip, an absolute drip of the ink on here and try to feed it through. Okay. All right, as I've said before, the alcohol ink dries very quickly. I'm using my wet baby wipe because we don't want it to be too grungy, so I want to actually take some off. And if you use the dry one, oops, see, I want to take it off because I just want the ink in the corner. And if I use the dry one, it still kind of, I feel anyway, leaves it wet in the background, and so that the ink still will seep through. I feel that if you just apply it, and I think that's enough. What do you guys think? Let me see. Let me turn it so I can see. Yeah, I think that's enough. We've just got a little bit of a splatter of where somebody may have dripped coffee on it, say. Yeah, I use the wet one because it pulls all the extra moisture away almost immediately so that it doesn't really have a chance to seep into all of the cracks. See, it's still, well, I can tell, it's still a little bit damp back there, but that's not going anywhere. It's not going to ooze out and just fill up that whole little space. It's just going to stay where I put it. Now, let's see, let's do Maggie. See, that one filled up. That's okay. Because if you notice, I've done the crazing on both sides so that, let's make up a story. These were tucked in Grandma's suitcase sideways, like this. The suitcase got stuck in a, I don't want to say the rain, but maybe a leaky pipe in the house. And the water dripped down on this side of the card. Well, if it dripped down on this side of the card, the damage is going to be to the same side of both of these pictures. So that's why I will tend to do things like that. I also tend to work to my left. I don't know what it is with me. I did go to art school. Not art school, but I majored in art in high school. I majored in it in college when I went the first time. I've always worked to the left. I find it aesthetically pleasing. Maybe it's because I'm a righty. I don't know. But you will find that in most of the things that I make, I will tend to make the left side heavier with elements than I do the right side. And when I balance, I will work, balance my elements so that it's even. I will always start in the left, the upper left of whatever I'm doing. And to balance it, I will put some kind of an element to the lower right-hand corner to balance what you're looking at, but also to bring one straight line of vision to what you're actually seeing. Here we have the card. I wanted to make sure that there was something tucking out on the right, because there is such a heavy element on the left that I just needed a little something on the right to bring it into one straight line of what you're seeing, if that makes any sense. Maybe I'm just talking out of my personal ideals of what I like, or maybe there is some artistic theory behind that I didn't study. Okay, I have my little paint brushes here on the side, soaking in water, because I did use them yesterday when I prepared Lucia's photo. Now, to put my money where my mouth is, I'm going to balance the elements, and I'm going to put the crackle paint. You can see I'm just dabbing the edge of my paintbrush into the crackle paint and getting a decent amount on it, and it's still dripping, because you do want to apply a lot. And I'm going to stick it down here in the corner. Let me see if I can bring you down a little to see what I'm doing. Maybe that's better. Okay. I've cut out a little bit of the background on you, but there's nothing interesting there for you to see. Let's see if I can get you down a little closer. Okay. I'm going to apply the crackle paint, as I was saying, in the lower right-hand corner, because after it's dry and I apply the alcohol ink, which again, my favorite color, mushroom. I have to sit up a little. There we go. I'm falling off of my chair. Once I have it dried and I apply the ink to it, it's going to be a balance. We're working from left to right, up and down. And again, like I said, that could be some artistic theory that I'm forgetting the name of. You can see I'm putting it on the frame a little too, which that's okay. Yeah, I'm getting my balance, like I was saying, with the color, and it gives you something to look at. Power of threes again, too. Look, 1, 2, 3. Okay. I've applied the crackle paint. Let me just wipe it off. Put this back in there. Whoops. Sorry, people. Put this back on here so that I don't spill it. Yeah, if I can put it back on here. Oh, there we go. All right. You'll notice my lighting's not too bad today. I played with it before I even started. Okay. Here's Henri and Marguerite. Marguerite? I don't know. And we've added the crackle paint. Okay. This is going to sit overnight and dry. Well, oh, sorry. Hit you again. Maybe not overnight. Maybe just till this afternoon. And I'll apply the color. And when I come back with my next video, which might be Wednesday, I will show you how it looks after. Okay, I'm not going to turn it over, but I am just going to let you look one more time. See, our alcohol ink pretty much settled itself in and didn't spread, but it just gives it that little bit of joie de vivre. Margaret and Henri, joie de vivre, which I'm assuming is joy of life. It just gives it that little extra. Okay, let's put Margaret and Henri aside. And see, this is a little girl. I think we did the little girl. Yeah, I think we inked the little girl on Friday. Or maybe we inked both of them. I don't know now. But I just want to let you see what they look like, 3 or 4 days later. The ink has pretty much settled. The crackle is still there. It will, it does chip off. I don't know if you can see right there. Let me see. Trying to show you. Right in there. You can see where it kind of, maybe, where it chipped off. But that's what they look like 3 days later. Okay, so the color stays set. You know, there's really not too much about it that varies once it's done. Okay, let's get this. I have too much stuff here. Excuse me. If you heard me, I burped. Let's do Lucia. Now see, I put the crackle paint on her. And I put the crazing on here. Some of you may have seen the library that I made. If you're on the Foxy Crafters, Tracy Fox Creative, the Foxy Crafters. On Facebook, you may have seen the library that I made. I put the crackle on to the sides of the structure, and I found that, oh, see, Lucia is on her frame backwards because her picture was, it's one of the Photomatic photos. You can see, just barely see the little edge of her picture up in here. I wanted her to show, and she was kind of offset in the picture. And I didn't want the edges of the picture to show. So you can just see it barely. I mean, I couldn't hide it completely, but truly, if I hadn't told you, you really wouldn't have noticed. So in order to do that, she's kind of backwards. She's kind of lopsided on the back of the frame. It doesn't matter. No one's going to see it. I'm going to glue her down. Take a look at what we had before. The feather, I'm going to try to explain why I use the elements that I used. The feather is to go in conjunction with the little bird's nest that I had back here. I wanted this to sort of be a touch of nature on the back. And I love this little bird's nest, and it's been sitting on my desk waiting to be used. I don't use a lot of birds in my elements, in the things that I make. Birds make me nervous. They flutter around and they make me very nervous. So it's not that I don't like them. I don't care for them. A couple of my friends have birds. Very nice, look, pretty bird. I don't bring it near me. But so I used the feather to tie in with the nest. I try to bring things together, and the butterfly, and I used this strip, which was also sitting on my desk because I was going to use it on something else and I didn't like the way it looked. But there's a bit of it's a peony actually back here. And I'm not sure if these are supposed to be roses. They might be. The leaves look like roses on a leaf. But it was a big pink flower, and it matched with this big pink flower. So I thought these elements tied in together as well. I picked the green butterfly to go with all of the green on the cards that I chose. And so I figured he blends in, but he still shows. And he brings out the green. We have the green here. Have no clue. Once again, could be a rose, could be a peony. I thought it was gorgeous. And that's why I put Lucia off to the side. Again, pretty girl, pretty flower. My story behind Lucia, once I started to look at her, was that she's an Italian model in the early 1900s style of 1900. I just thought that this could be one of her shots, photo shots, that she asked her photographer for a copy of because she's modeling what I believe is a big fluffy sweater. And so she liked the way her face looked. Her telephone number. When you're a model, everyone has to have your telephone number. And then these little elements here, they really have nothing to do with anything. This one says London. She flies from Italy to London for modeling. And these just kind of looked Baker, Josephine Baker. She was I think she was a swimmer, but she was popular in the early 1900s. William Byrd Motor Hotel. Maybe when she finally gets big and well known, she flies to the United States and she stays in Richmond, Virginia. So that's why I picked what I picked. I mean, you may think it's silly, but in my head, I kind of want to think about this. Oh, dog hair. Is that dog hair there? Nope. I don't want my people to just be in a book and not have a life, you know? It's just fun. You probably think it's silly, like I said. But we'll give her a little bit of a history. I have a journal idea in mind, which is why I'm using a lot of photo elements. And so I want everybody to have a story. I am going to put a little bit of ink on here, but not too much, because my reasoning is this photo is actually lifted above the acetate on the frame. You like that? I remembered what it's called, acetate. So it probably isn't really going to touch the card, but we'll put some anyway. Okay. Let's line Lucia up. We know she goes to the side here because my little black line is there. And we want her to, again, I need all my elements to touch. We want her to be so that we can still see that it says Styles of the 1900s. Okay, I don't want to push down on the center because I don't know if you can see. There's a little spot there. That's where my glue leaked over because I put too much glue on Lucia before I attached her to her frame, and it did seep out. So you can see it. Maybe you can't. I can because I know it's there. But it doesn't matter. There's so much going on and so many other little elements on here that you really can't tell. I mean, you don't want your glue oozing out from the background. But if you get a little bit on, let's close this up so that it doesn't get icky sticky inside. Okay, close that up. I have begun screwing this very lightly into its base because I've found that I can't get it off. And I've unscrewed the wrong part of the glue more than once. Not a good thing. All right, let's grab our handy dandy little wipe because we're gonna put our ink on. Now I already showed you what the ink looks like on the crackle. And because this frame is so dark, I don't know how much this is actually going to show, but it'll just be enough to give it a little bit of color. Oh, let's see if we can lift her up. Do you see? And turn it towards the light, or maybe this way. You can't really tell that it's there, but it just adds a little bit of extra something. I'm just gonna put a little bit there, grab my wipe because I don't want it oozing out. Okay. Okay. Whoop. Once again, I balanced my corners. Your eyes follow the line from the top to the bottom, left to right, with something interesting in the middle to continue the line. We're going to put a little bit on here. On the lumpiest part, I'm going to add 2 extra drops because, like I said, it is a little bit lumpy. There we go. Let's see. If I just touch here, we can add a little bit there, but whoop, I don't want that to happen. There we go. Oh, can you see? Just adds a little bit of something. Okay. Now, let's do the photo. Keep your fingers crossed that we like what happens. Let's see if we can. Does that work? Oh, it does. Makes it a little bit better. How about if I pull her closer to me? Okay. One drip. All right. I don't want to touch the acetate with the baby wipe because I have found that the acetate leaves, that the baby wipes leave a mark on the acetate, which I then can't get out. Oh, very slow little drip. Dab off the extra. Let's tilt this while it's still wet to see if we can get the ink to stay on this side and not go across the acetate. Okay. See? And I'm going to, probably against my better judgment, just drip right there. Oh, okay. Grab the wipe. Wipe it off. Okay. Grab a hold of her so you can see, because I know you probably really can't see. See how it's changing color? And we're just adding a little extra something. I don't know if I want to put any more on. I'm going to put a little down here, but I'm going to tilt the picture so that the ink runs backwards and not out onto her. And there is, again, there's a little bit of crackle paint in here. It's not going to hurt anything. See, I don't know if you can see that the ink is still kind of moving in there. Okay. I think we're done. I hope you like her. Oh, I put the other one so far away. Oh, lordy, lordy. Here we go. See? Crackle paint is still wet. Can you see it in there in the corner? It'll take a few hours for it to dry. And then I'll just add some alcohol ink. This frame's kind of, this element is a little bit small. So I don't want to overdo it because I do want the rest of the things in here to show. The little cards and things. But there you have it. Lucia and Margaret and Henri. I hope I've broken this down enough for you so that, let's close up my ink and put my icky towel over. You know what, let me wipe this. I hope I've broken it down enough for you so that you can see how to do it. I know that most of you probably already know how to do these things, but maybe some of you don't. So I just figured I would try to break it into little pieces so that you could see how to do it. And like I said, I hope it's enough. I'm going to put them up there, and I'm going to bring back in the ones we did on Friday. Lucia is basically dry. The ink dries in no time. It's just the rest of the stuff. There we go. Okay, so there we go. We have our photo collage, don't want to touch the paint, photo collage montages that we've done. This is the one we did on Friday. Not as much to it. We only glue, I think we only did the crackle paint or added the alcohol ink. This is when we added the crackle paint too. If I'm repeating myself over and over, forgive me, I'm old. And that's him. And I'm going to put him over here. And here's Lucia. Okay. I don't know if we named him. Didn't we name her Meg from the Little Women? Or Amy? Wasn't that one of the sisters? What should we name him? How about Philip? He reminds me of a Philip. Okay. All right, we have that out of the way. I want to show you something. I'm trying to decide how much of it I'm going to be able to do on camera and how much of it I'm not. Last week, I watched a video by Crafty by Tony, and she made these adorable ID cards. Oop. And they were on lanyards. So I said, I have got to try that. So I went out, of course. Well, I didn't go out. I went on Amazon and I ordered myself, oh, I can't reach it. I don't have it. Oop. Grosgrain ribbon. I've kind of torn it apart, but it's grosgrain ribbon in ivory, 1 inch thick. And I also bought myself the little swivel D clips. I don't know if you can see, it's one of these. And I sat and I made myself one over the weekend. She has a laminating machine. I'm betwixt and between whether or not I want one. So I used Scotch self-sealing laminating pouches, which I got at Walmart for, I want to say $3.50. And I made some tags with my lanyard, which I sewed on my machine. And because it's vintage, I'm not really concerned that the sewing is sloppy. So I'm going to decide whether or not I think that this is a project I can tackle on camera. I've put these in their laminating cards. These 3. I've used, oh, I moved you. Sorry. Sorry about that. I had an itch on my nose. I have a stamp that stamps letters and numbers, so each of them have a name. And these are the other ones I did. They've all been stamped and inked. They're not in their laminating pouches yet, but they all have names. Bugsy and Irma. I don't know if you can see. Irma, Bugsy, Lucy, Elmer, and Larry. That's what I did over the weekend while stealing time. We went to a couple of parties this weekend for birthday parties. But this is what I did. If I can figure out a way to break it down and make it easier for me to show you how to do this, maybe we'll do that next. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, thank you for being here. This video is almost an hour long, which is amazing for me. Again, thank you to all of my new subscribers. You're the best. I am now up to 319 subscribers, which is just awesome. I've gone 10 times what I had 2.5 weeks ago. I thought I had 320, but when I got up this morning, I only had 319. So either someone subscribed and then decided they didn't like what they saw, or else the analytics on the YouTube Studio app are weird. I don't know, but whatever. I am so pleased to have 319 subscribers, maybe 320, that it's amazing. I was speaking with someone on Facebook yesterday. Her name is Rose. She was saying that she wanted to start a hashtag catch up in June. Maybe we'll be doing that. I still have some projects left over from the Creep on June that I didn't finish with you, that I said I was going to, and one that I promised a woman on Facebook that I would do the, it's a folio. I think I may have shown it. I promised that I would do it on the Facebook group, and I didn't get to it. So I might finish that up on video. And it's just basically putting in a couple of pockets and putting in some journaling pages and then post it on Facebook for her. But that's where we're at for now. I can't think of anything else that I want to tell you. Like, subscribe, please comment. I tried to do my best to answer everyone. Like I said, I was a little bit slow in answering everybody on Facebook this weekend and on YouTube. We had parties, but I do answer. So yeah, thank you for watching. Have an awesome day. Happy 4th of July for those who celebrate. And I will see you again towards the middle of the week. Okay? Bye for now. Thank you. Bye.